The confirmed number of new coronavirus cases reported in Los Angeles County in the last 24 hours is 941, with 15 additional deaths. Here in Torrance, 11 additional cases were reported with no new deaths. Welcome to COVID-19 Today. I'm Rhiannon Trutanich. It's Tuesday, December 7th. 4 Omicron cases have now been confirmed in LA County. The first case happened last week, where a fully vaccinated individual tested positive after returning to LA from South Africa via London. The individual was self-isolating and healing without medical care. Since then, 2 more cases were confirmed yesterday. One involved a fully vaccinated USC student who returned home after visiting the East Coast. This person is self-isolating and has mild symptoms. Close contacts in LA County have been identified and they are being quarantined and tested. Additionally, LA County confirmed last night that a 3rd person was infected with the new variant. The individual was fully vaccinated and recently traveled to West Africa. The person experienced mild symptoms and is in isolation. And this afternoon, the city of Long Beach reported its first infection of the Omicron variant. The infected person recently traveled internationally as well and returned to Long Beach on November 29th. A new study suggests that using the Johnson & Johnson vaccine as a booster shot may give people more protection from the coronavirus and future variants. The study looked at 65 volunteers who all were fully vaccinated with Pfizer. It showed that the J&J vaccine as a booster produced a slower but more sustained antibody response against the original strain of the virus, as well as the Delta and Beta variants. The Pfizer booster shot produced a quicker and stronger immune response, but dropped off after. Researchers say both vaccines work well, and at week 4, neutralizing antibody levels were comparable. But after that point, antibody levels began to decrease in people who got boosted with Pfizer, while they continued to increase in those who got the J&J. While the study did not include Omicron, researchers say the findings may be important for coming up with ways to fight the latest variant. This study has been submitted to a peer-reviewed journal and posted online. Scientists claim to have discovered the reason behind blood clotting issues caused by the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. They believe the shot's viral vector, which is the vaccine ingredient used to transport the coronavirus's genetic material into a recipient's cells, could be the issue. Scientists from Arizona State University and Cardiff University in the United Kingdom worked with AstraZeneca to investigate vaccine-induced blood clots, publishing their findings in the journal Science Advances. They hope their findings can be used to better understand the rare side effects of the vaccines and potentially to design new and improved vaccines to turn the tide on this global pandemic. Links between the AstraZeneca vaccine and the rare but sometimes fatal blood clots prompted some countries to restrict its use to older adults. Medical experts continue to say the benefits of getting vaccinated outweigh any risks, and one study concludes that COVID-19 poses a much bigger threat of blood clots than vaccination. Men are more likely to spread coronavirus particles than women or children. That's what researchers in Colorado discovered when they studied the spread of COVID-19 in performing arts settings. Researchers at Colorado State University conducted the study over several months, originally in an effort to see what those in the performing arts can do to facilitate a safe return to the stage following the pandemic. The school's theater and mechanical engineering departments partnered on this study, analyzing more than 75 participants who sang inside a chamber used for testing particles in the air. The participants varied in age and skill sets. Some sang Happy Birthday repetitively, while others performed different songs on instruments. Researchers learned that singing emits more particles than talking. Adults tend to emit more particles than children, likely because they have bigger lungs, and the virus spreads more easily among those who speak at louder volumes. They say indoor venues therefore have a greater risk for the spread of the coronavirus. And events such as a ballet performance with infrequent loud audience responses are more safe than a concert with thousands of screaming or singing fans. Ford Motor Company is pushing back its return to office date to March due to new COVID-19 concerns. Assembly line workers returned to work in May of 2020, but many office workers continue to stay home during the pandemic. Those employees were preparing to head back into the office next month, but the Omicron variant is delaying that phase by another couple of months. The company announced this week that the state of COVID-19 virus remains fluid, and despite the success of ongoing safety protocols and increased vaccination rates, it's shifting the hybrid work model to March. A company spokesperson says they will begin with a pilot phase for select employees in February and in March, and will allow all non-site dependent team members to begin working flexibly between Ford campuses and maintain remote options. Ford became the first of the big three U.S. automakers to mandate vaccines for most of its 32,000 U.S. salaried employees. They have until tomorrow, December 8th, to become fully vaccinated. U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy was in L.A. yesterday talking about the importance of mental health. He visited the King Drew Magnet High School of Medicine and Science and talked to a panel of students about this topic. Dr. Murthy released a Surgeon General's advisory today on young mental health that calls our nation to action to address our youth mental health crisis. He says symptoms of anxiety and depression doubled during the pandemic, with 25% of youth experiencing depressive symptoms and 20% experiencing anxiety symptoms. Earlier this year, emergency department visits in the U.S. for suspected suicide attempts were 51% higher for adolescent girls and 4% higher for adolescent boys compared to the same time period in early 2019. He said mental health challenges in children, adolescents, and young adults are real, widespread, but most importantly, treatable and oftentimes preventable. He says we all have a responsibility to protect the mental health of young people and encourages the public to read the advisory, share it with friends and colleagues, and consider taking positive action to help young people thrive. The Biden administration will not send any diplomatic or official representatives to Beijing for the upcoming Winter Olympics. The White House announced its decision on Monday, citing the Chinese government's, quote, ongoing genocide and crimes against humanity. The extensive list of alleged abuses includes systematic state-organized mass imprisonment, torture, and persecution against people in the Xinjiang province, including Uyghurs and Kazakhs. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says the athletes on Team USA have their full support and will be cheered for from home, but they will not be contributing to the fanfare of the Games. The diplomatic boycott follows other global condemnation of China's treatment of ethnic minorities. Earlier this year, the U.S. joined the European Union, the United Kingdom, and Canada in imposing economic sanctions on China in protest of the government's human rights abuses. Light rain began to fall in parts of LA this morning, and cooler temperatures are expected this week. Two back-to-back storms are forecasted to bring a change in the weather pattern. After today's rain comes higher chances of more rain and even snowfall in parts of the Southland. On Thursday, expect about 0.1 to 0.3 inches of rainfall along our region. Mountain areas above 5,000 feet are expected to see snow, with about 1 to 3 inches possible above 6,000 feet elevation. The cooler weather should linger throughout the weekend, with another storm expected on Monday. The National Weather Service is welcoming the change in temperatures, calling the rain liquid gold and saying it's like hitting the jackpot after a dry November. Downtown LA experienced its first rainless November in almost 30 years this year. America's second largest Mexican fast food chain, Del Taco, is sold. Another fast food giant, Jack in the Box, is buying Del Taco for a cool $575 million. The burger chain will pay $12.51 per share in cash for the acquisition. It plans to finance the acquisition by issuing additional securitization notes. Jack in the Box CEO Darren Harris says, quote, "This is a natural combination of two like-minded challenger brands with outstanding growth opportunities. Together, Jack in the Box and Del Taco will benefit from a strong financial model, gaining greater scale to invest in digital and technology capabilities and unit growth for both brands." Del Taco serves more than 3 million guests each week at its 600 locations across 16 states. Jack in the Box has previously bought and sold another Mexican chain, Qdoba. This most current deal is expected to be finalized in early 2022 and would bring the company to 2,800 restaurants spanning 25 states. A no-burn alert was issued for today. The South Coast Air Quality Management District issued the residential alert through 11:59 p.m. tonight. Officials remind residents that burning wood in their fireplaces or any indoor or outdoor wood-burning device is prohibited during this time. The no-burn rule prohibits burning wood as well as manufactured fire logs, such as those made from wax or paper. South Coast AQMD asked Southern Californians to do their part to help keep the air clean by not burning wood during the ban period. No-burn days are mandatory in order to protect public health when fine particulate air pollution in the region is forecast to be high. Smoke from wood burning can cause health problems, and particles in the wood smoke can get deep into the lungs and cause respiratory issues, including asthma attacks. Residents can learn more and sign up to get alerts on future no-burn days at airalerts.org. The Torrance Unified School District will be hosting another COVID-19 vaccination and booster clinic for students ages 5 and older. It takes place tomorrow, December 8th. You have to register in advance to receive an appointment time. Just go to tinyurl.com/TUSDVax. The password is TVaxed. The clinic will be held at the Family Welcome Enrollment Center parking lot. The address is 2336 Plaza Del Amo. The vaccine clinics are open to all students, their families, and staff members. Torrance City Council members head back inside the chambers tonight to conduct city business. Among the agenda items to be discussed include resolutions honoring a number of dedicated city workers upon their retirement after as many as 37 years of service. The City Council's Ad Hoc Facility Naming Committee will recommend that City Council concur and approve the recommendation of Mary K. Giordano Regional Transit Center as the name of the new Torrance Transit Park and Ride Regional Terminal. And the city clerk and the city manager will recommend that City Council discuss and take public input with regard to redistricting based on the 2020 census data for the general municipal election to be held on June 7, 2022. These items and much more will be discussed tonight. And while the council chamber will be closed to the public in the interest of maintaining appropriate social distancing and helping to reduce the risk of spreading COVID-19, the public can participate before the meeting tonight by emailing council meeting public comment at torranceca.gov or by calling in during the meeting. You can watch the meeting live on our website, YouTube, Facebook, and of course right here on City Cable beginning at 6:30 p.m. Well, before we go, at the end of each program, we like to share feel-good stories from our community. Pictures, images, and videos that remind us of how resilient our community is and how Torrance truly cares. The Torrance Fire and Police Departments are collecting toys for their annual holiday toy drive. We took a peek at what they gathered so far from businesses, churches, and other community members. Organizers say they have more than 1,000 donations, but still need more items for infants, toddlers, and teenagers. They plan to give out at least a handful of gifts to each child. They'll be delivering them to TUSD schools next week. Families across the city signed up through the annual Holiday Family Assistance Program and will wrap their gifts once they receive them. If you want to donate, it's not too late. You can drop them off at the Torrance City Hall lobby or at the fire stations across the city. What a great way to bring smiles to our children's faces this holiday season. Now, if you have a great story, upcoming event, photo, or video you'd like to share, email us at covid19today@torranceca.gov. We'd love to hear from you. Well, that's our update for COVID-19 today. We'll see you back here tomorrow as Jin Chun brings you the latest. Be safe, stay healthy, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.